Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Rough loss for the Giants today. You lose to the Eagles 48-22. I don't know what to really say about this game. It just felt like the Giants didn't have the necessary talent to win this football game. I mean, when you look at the stats of the game, Jalen Hurts was 21-31, 217 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Miles Sanders had 17 carries for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown answered with 4 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown. Daniel Jones, it's not his fault that we lost. I mean, you give up 48 points in a football game. You're not going to win football games. But at the end of the day, he had 22 points scored for this offense. 18 completions on 27 attempts, 170 total yards. Saquon Barkley was clearly hurt and dinged up, only had 9 carries for 28 yards. Richie James was the leading receiver for New York with 7 receptions for 61 yards and a touchdown. I mean, at the end of the day, it just seemed like the Giants were not a good enough team to win this football game. They didn't have enough on the offensive end. They didn't have enough on the defensive end. You give up 48 points, you're not going to win football games. You score 22 points, you're not going to win football games. That's just kind of what it came down to. I mean, I wasn't mad or disappointed with the way that Daniel Jones played. I mean, 18 completions on 27 attempts, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to put up more than 20 points per game, and that's what the Giants continuously do every single day. I mean, every single Sunday, it seems like the Giants score 20 points at some point. I know we're hurt. I know we don't have the weapons. I know that, the Giants don't have the most talent. But 169 passing yards just isn't going to get it done. 169 passing yards isn't going to get it done. 26 rushing yards. He combined for less than 200 yards. I don't want to pile on Daniel Jones. He's not the reason we lost this game, but he's also not the reason that we competed in this game. At the end of the day, this defense got their ass whooped. This offense got their ass whooped. This team got their ass whooped. You lost by 26 points against a division rival. Daniel Jones did have 2 total touchdowns, had that 1 passing touchdown, also had that 1 rushing touchdown. But one of those touchdowns came on when the punt was blocked. So there wasn't really a lot of time for the Giants to really do anything. I mean, they only really did something when they were met with the short field. So I'll ask you this question. Grade Daniel Jones versus the Eagles. Grade his performance today. What do you got to say? Grade Daniel Jones's performance today. I'd say a C-, a D+. He's not the reason we lost, but he damn sure ain't the reason that we competed. I just go back to that first drive of the game. The Giants got a first down on a rush attempt, and then Daniel Jones was sacked the next 2 times. He doesn't have time to throw. Doesn't have the receivers. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Grade Daniel Jones' performance down for me down below. You're just not going to win football games with only 300 yards of total offense. You're not going to win games giving up 4 sacks. You're not going to win games going 4-13 on third down. You're not going to win games rushing for 123, especially when you only pass for 181 yards. I mean, the Giants left a lot to be desired. They didn't do what they had to do to win this football game. I mean, when you look at the top lead rushers for the New York Football Giants, Saquon Barkley came into this game as questionable. He was 50-50 in pregame warmups, did enough to get the green light, but he only had 9 carries for 28 yards. I think in the last 4 games, Saquon Barkley has less than 200 yards rushing total. Whatever it is, sucks. You can't block for Daniel Jones. You can't block for Saquon Barkley. I think the Giants over-exceeded expectations in the first half of the season, and now they've kind of fell as they started to get injured and they started to face the realization that they're actually not that good of a football team. We'll get to more stats and analysis here in a second, but first I want to tell you about our proud sponsor, Fetch. Turn your receipts into free gift cards. Whenever you get a receipt, you can take a picture of it when you download the free app, Fetch, chatsports.com/fetch. Use promo code chat for 5,000 bonus points. I want to tell you about our sponsor, Fetch. Use the Fetch app for iPhone or Android to scan your receipts to earn points and turn those into gift cards. Whether you're shopping at Target, Walmart, grocery shopping, or even your local mom and pop store, you can redeem points by scanning your receipts with Fetch. You can also connect your Amazon account to your Fetch account. That way, whenever you buy stuff on Amazon, it results in getting points for your Fetch account. Literally, whenever someone asks you for a receipt, instead of saying, nah, I don't want that anymore like I used to do, ask for the receipt back. Take a picture of it and scan your receipt to add points to your account. Once you get to 10,000 points, you can redeem it for a gift card. Free download at chatsports.com/fetch. Just make sure you use the promo code CHAT so you can get 5,000 bonus for points. Get rewards for all of your shopping. Earn free rewards on everything you buy. That's chatsports.com/fetch. Promo code CHAT125. We'll run through some rest of the stats from today's game. Richie James had 7 receptions for 61 yards. Did most of his damage, honestly, when Daniel Jones was subbed out of the game. Caught that touchdown from Tyrod Taylor. You're just not going to win many football games scoring 22 points, whether it's the receivers, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's Daniel Jones, whatever you want to choose as the reason. Everybody has to be better. I was impressed with what I saw from Isaiah Hodgins early in the game on that first drive. Caught that slant pass that got him a first down. Then he caught that touchdown, but 4 receptions for 38 yards for a touchdown. Not enough. Darius Slayton had 2 receptions for 42 yards and no touchdowns. I mean, this Giants offense just kind of lacks the playmakers on the outside to be an elite team in the National Football League. It sucks to realize it, but it is what it is. Your top 2 receivers can't be Darius Slayton, and they can't be Isaiah Hodgins, and when they are, you're just not going to win many football games. I think Slayton is solid. I think Hodgins is okay, but they can't be your wide receiver 1, and they can't be your wide receiver 2. And if you're not going to be able to protect Daniel Jones, if you're not going to be able to protect your quarterback, you're just not going to win football games. Daniel Bellinger, the rookie tight end out of San Diego State, did leave the game early in the first half with a rib injury. This is the second time he's had to leave a game because of injury. The first time because of that face fracture that we all know well about. Missed a couple of games, came back, played okay, but he's hurt once again with that rib injury. The 6'6", 253-pound tight end out of San Diego State is now once again hurt for the New York Giants. I'll ask you this, and I think this is a good question here. I don't know if I actually blame anybody. I just think the Eagles are a much better team than the New York Football Giants. They came in ready to play today. Jalen Hurts played well. Miles Sanders was able to run the football. A.J. Brown played great. DeVonta Smith played great. I'll ask you, though, who do you blame, if there is anybody, for the loss of this game? Who do you blame for the loss? Sound off down below. I mean, the Eagles just really beat the Giants from wire to wire. 437 total yards, 253 passing yards, 184 rushing yards. The fact that you gave up 184 rushing yards to Miles Sanders and a couple runs from Jalen Hurts is pretty disappointing. Also I thought this was huge. Multiple third downs early on in the game. You had chances to get off the football field, and you allowed the Philadelphia Eagles to go 6 of 11 on third downs. You did get 4 sacks, and a lot of that due to Azeez Ojulari. Kayvon Thibodeau had a sack as well. But you can't allow a team to go 50% on third downs. Azeez Ojulari, his second game back from injury, and he showed you the type of player that he can be. You know Azeez Ojulari is great. You know Kayvon Thibodeau had a good game, who also had a sack. Azeez is a good football player. 2 QB hits, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 tackles. But you definitely miss Leonard Williams today. I'm just ready to see a football game this year when you have Leonard Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Azeez Ojulari. We haven't really had that so far this year, and I think that's kind of been the reason why this defense hasn't been the best version of themselves. Look, 48 points. You don't win football games giving up 48 points. The Eagles, at the end of the day, really just whooped your ass. Jalen Hurts, he didn't ever feel pressure, didn't ever feel like he ever had to do anything. 21 to 31, 217 passing yards, 77 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. You weren't able to stop him. You weren't able to contain him. It is what it is. Thing is that really upsets me is that Miles Sanders was able to have 17 rushes for 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a long touchdown of 40. I see someone says Kayvon Thibodeau had 0 sacks, but he had a sack on a penalty. I don't know if the penalty erased that, but it is what it is. I know he had a sack. There was a penalty on that 3rd down backed up against the goal line. They're officially saying it was without a sack, but he did have that sack on the goal line. Look, it's all about next week. You want to make the playoffs? Go ahead and beat Washington. You want to beat Washington? Sub for dubs. Sub for dubs right now. You want the Giants to beat the Washington football team next week? That's what it's going to come down to. Beat Washington next week. You're in the playoffs. Sub for dubs. YouTube.com/NYGiantsTV. We put out videos every single day on the latest Giants news and rumors. We go live on Wednesday. We go live on Sunday. These were the playoff odds prior to the game. Look, this was prior to the game. You lose the next 2 games, you're at 31%. But this is the line right here that I want to focus on right here. You lose to Philly and you beat Washington, you're in the playoffs. If you lose to Philly, we lost to them. It's over. It's done with. But if you beat Washington next week, you're in the playoffs. Right here. You lose to Philly and you beat Washington, you have an 89% chance to make the playoffs. All you got to do is take care of business next week. We'll run through the stats one more time, and we will sign off on today's show. Jalen Hurts, 21-31, 217 yards, 3 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, 17 carries, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. You weren't able to stop the run. That was definitely a backbreaker. A.J. Brown had a touchdown. I think DeVonta Smith also had a touchdown early on in the game. I think that was actually the 4th and 7 that DeVonta Smith scored one. Daniel Jones, not enough. Saquon Barkley, clearly hurt, and Richie James only really did damage when Tyrod was in. We'll end the show with this question, and I like this. Will the Giants make the playoffs? Will the Giants make the playoffs? I say yes. I think they beat Washington next week on Sunday Night Football. Got to play better than you did today. I'll ask you, though. Will the Giants make the playoffs? You beat Washington and you win one more game. That's what it comes down to. If you're able to beat Washington and then you're able to win one more game, you're going to be a playoff team. Will the Giants make the playoffs? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Sound off.